Welcome to Find Your Dream Job, the podcast that helps you get hired, have the career you want, and make a difference in life. I'm Ben Forstag, Managing Director of MaxList. I'm here with the MaxList team, Mac Pritchard, our fearless leader, founder, and publisher, and Jenna Forstrom, our community manager. On this bonus episode, we're going to talk about one of the biggest frustrations people encounter with online job postings, the all too common practice of job announcements that don't include a starting salary. So a few weeks ago, I wrote a blog post on this topic explaining the reasons, good and bad, why so many employers don't list a salary range. This post generated a lot of comments and conversation, so I thought we would discuss this on our podcast. So, Mac, I'm going to put you on the hot seat as a business owner here. Why don't some employers include salary in their job postings?
Well, when you ask employers this, what they say is they want to test the market, and they want to see what kind of response they get and figure out through the hiring process what might be a competitive salary. That's the reason. I think in the long run it's a mistake, and I think it's a mistake because usually employers have a budget and they usually have a figure in mind, and I think in the long run they will save themselves time and trouble by being clear about that amount. And one way to do it while testing the market and to see what kind of the quality of the applications you get is to set a range. So we at MaxList strongly encourage our advertisers on the job board to post a salary range because it's good not only for the applicants, it helps them get clear about what the market employers are paying, but it's also good for employers because it saves them the trouble of hearing from applicants who, if a range isn't provided, probably aren't going to be interested in continuing the interview process.
Yeah, and in my research, I found there's a lot of different reasons that people state why employers don't do this. Some of them are, like you said, what I would say is kind of like neutral, that they're just kind of shopping around. They're not sure of the price, and they're trying to set the price or figure out the price on the market. Some of them are good. I saw some recruiters say, like, sometimes they don't list a salary because they're willing to pay more to the right candidate, and they don't want to scare off the perfect candidate with a lowball salary range that they would pay to the average person that they hire. And then there were some negative reasons. I mean, some folks out there say, and I think there's some truth to this, that not including salary information increases like discrimination gaps between men and women and between minority and majority candidates. And that some folks would also argue that it's a race to the bottom, right? Again, it's just like in competitive job markets, employers know they don't need to compete on price, and so they're trying to kind of push prices down. One of the things I think, though, is that this is a reality, right? And would you agree with me, Mac and Jenna, that like this is probably not going to change in the near future? We can't force employers to do this, unfortunately.
We can't, and it is a reality that people will have to deal with. There are steps they can take, job applicants, to overcome these barriers, and I know you've got some suggestions about that, and Jenna does as well.
Yeah, so what would you suggest, Jenna, for someone who the salary's not listed, they're interested in the job, what would the next step be?
Research the company's website and see if they post any other job listings, like in a relative field. So if they're hiring like a senior position or maybe an entry-level position and they post a job offer or a job salary range, and then go on your favorite resource, glassdoor.com, and see what is comparable for your geography and location. And then if you know anyone that does that role, see how much they make if they're willing to share that information. But those would be my three things.
So do you think you can just ask? Can you just like write to the hiring manager and say, hey, you didn't list a salary range there. How much does this job pay? I'd like to know before I apply.
I think that's a fair question. And
I mean, I think it's fair too, but do you think employers look kindly upon that?
Well, I think they are either going to tell you or they're going to say, no, we haven't set that figure yet. It's going to be one or the other. But I think by asking the question, you're sending a signal that this is an important fact for candidates. And if you're chasing the job, you're probably qualified and competitive and attractive. And when employers get those signals from people they hope to attract to their organization, that's a powerful thing.
Funny story. I actually applied for a job once that didn't have a starting salary, and they invited me in for an interview. And I went through the entire interview, and when it came to, so what questions do you have? I said, oh, well, you didn't include a salary range there. How much does this job pay? And the response was, we're really not ready to disclose that yet. And I read between the lines there, which was like, you're not the candidate for us, and that's fine. But I think at a certain point, if they want you, they're going to let you know what that range is, and it just may well be at the end of a first interview, and that might be as good as you're going to get. So what I'm getting from you guys is this is a dynamic that happens a lot. I think we can all agree it's not the greatest situation, and we wish it was different.
It is frustrating for job seekers.
Yeah, I think we've all been there, but that there are some strategies to work around this.
Yeah.
Namely research and asking around.
Yeah, I really like Jenna's suggestions about looking at places like Glassdoor, and if you know people who have worked at that organization or are in touch with current employees, it's okay to ask them if you have a relationship, what are you hearing internally about the salary range for positions like this?
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.